The Malden School Committee public hearing is hereby called to order. The time is 6 p.m. on June 1st, 2023. Tonight's agenda is a public hearing for the 2023-2024 fiscal year budget. Before we enter into that, we're going to have our clerk call the roll. And if there is no objection, we are then going to enter into a brief recess so members and those in the audience can attend the Pride flag raising outside in the courtyard. So, Ms. Clerk. Here.
Ms. Macklin?
Here.
Mr. Malden?
Here.
Mr. Drake? Here. Mr. Bernard?
Here.
Ms. Rosario? Here. Superintendent Noriega Murphy?
Here. All right. It looks like we have a quorum sufficient to meet. So again, if there's no objections, we're going to enter into a brief recess to attend the Malden Pride flag raising outside and be back in approximately 10 to 15 minutes.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Hey, Keith. Oh, we're on mute still. Hi, Keith. All right, should we just go back? So if everyone's here, we'll hop back into session. And with that, we can open the public forum on the FY23-24 Malden Public Schools budget. Just as Finance Chair, quick thank you to the committee and to our central office team who was involved in putting this together. And I really want to thank everyone in the public for their questions and thoughts that they submitted in advance. One outstanding issue that we wanted to mention is that we know our central office team is currently working collaboratively with the MEA to come up with a solution and define a job description for each of our K-8 media centers, also known as libraries. And we hope that at our meeting on June 12th, we'll be able to announce a plan for the public. So I appreciate all the work going on behind the scenes to make those things happen. So with that, we can open the public forum. Anybody who would like to can come up in person or on Zoom and share thoughts, comments, concerns. We're still here, Keith.
wait,
We're
it's
just
on.
trying to figure.
It's on.
Oh!
Yay.
Jen just figured it out, everybody. Public forum has been saved. Bonnie, it's all yours.
I still have to state my name and all that.
Yes, please.
Okay. My name is Bonnie Littlejohn, 127 Emerald Street. I always like to write my stuff out. First, thank you for scheduling this public forum before next week's school committee meeting, although I just heard that next week's school committee meeting is now going to be later, I believe, because of possible graduation.
Oh, we forgot to announce that. We'll do that after.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, so thank you for scheduling before the meeting. It would be
Seat of our pants.
the hours of a full-time job plus more to go through every detail of the budget and ask questions about what I don't know. Time that I don't have, it's not my, and I know it's not my job. But I just have to put my trust in believing that all of you, our elected officials, are going through the details and questioning anything that you don't know before you take your vote on the budget. I know that I will not be allowed the time to go through everything I want tonight, so I have prioritized and highlighted a few points below. Just stop me if I... So comparing the exploratory positions in the K through 8 schools, I can see that we are aiming towards equity in all K through 8 schools, which is good. However, I did notice a few differences. First, I did not see any of the current STEM positions listed in the K through 8 schools for 2024. However, I see on the priorities page that Forest Hill is adding a middle school STEM teacher. So I know you can't answer back. I'm just, my questions, rhetorical questions. Where did the other STEM positions go? Were these positions eliminated? And if yes, were these educators informed yet? Another point, I do not see the instructional technology coach K through 8. I believe you just talked about this. In any of the K through 8 schools, was this position eliminated? And if yes, were these educators informed yet? But I believe you just, right before I came up, talked about that. And I see the teacher computer specialist listed in 4 of the 5. Did you read this before? The teacher computer specialist listed in four of the 5 K through 8 schools. What exactly is this new position? Ferryway does not have one. Why not? I did see that Ferryway is the only school with teacher industrial arts. Is that the reason why they did not get a teacher computer specialist? And if yes, why not if we are trying to make all the other exploratories equal in all the K through 8s, why does that one school not have STEM and have one teacher industrial arts? I also noticed that there was no theater teacher listed in the BB school, and was this position eliminated? If yes, was this educator informed yet? In all the K through 8 schools, just like looking through, yes, I have the budget, the budget book. The general educational supplies for all K through 8 schools, but it does say K through 4 at Salemwood, since 2021 has been $25,000. So my thought was, how is each school receiving the same amount for supplies if they hold different amounts of students and educators? How is this equitable? Forest Hill would have more money per student than a student at a larger school like Salem would. Like almost double. Salem would could be almost doubled, but they're still getting the same amount for supplies. And it's been happening since at least in this budget, I see from 2021. On page 131, I did notice that there was no 504 coordinators, and it was last budgeted in 2021, but it's listed on page 13 of the organizational chart that we do have coordinators, but it's not in the budget. So I was just wondering about that. I know it's very hard to have I've had experience with 504 coordinators that they change over and over and over again throughout the years. So that just confused me, that we have them, but then it's not in the budget, listed in the budget. And then positions that I would hope you have asked, for the school committee, positions that I would hope you have asked about for clarification of their roles before voting. So what is the role of a building monitor? Only Salemwood and the high school have them listed on the priorities page, but it's not in the high school line item or the Salemwood line item on their pages. And the building monitor is listed on the district-wide line item. So I was just all confused with what is a building monitor and where is it exactly going? What will the dean of students do? That's listed on the priorities page. I think there's 2. And I guess another just I had a few little other things I didn't write down. Like I said, I was prioritizing because I didn't know how long I had to talk. So, like something I saw was admin technical tuition, high school, $65,000. I don't know what that is. I was just wondering. There are things, when it's public and I look and I don't know, I just wonder. The general fund school line items, it says admin director of science, $301,760.76. It's up 108.3%. And in my head, I'm thinking we have 2 STEM directors. Did we get another one? Or like, how is that happening that the admin for director of science went up 108%? I don't know if we're getting another director. Admin director of literacy and ELA went up 114%. And I thought that the director of literacy was part of the Title I grant and not a budgeted item. So in my head, I'm like, that's $287,000. So I think there's like questions that when you read through it, it just makes me think. I didn't see where the superintendent and assistant superintendent, the salaries are just there, where they were listed in the budget, like some of these directors. I guess those are like my main big points. There's always a few other little things, but
Okay.
if anybody if you wanted me to send what I said, I can do that if you want, just let me know.
Yeah, well, first,
Yeah.
we're going to entertain a motion to put Bonnie Littlejohn on the Budget Subcommittee from this point forward. Let's have our superintendent.
Let's go through public comment first, just so we don't veer off.
Am I done?
Is there anybody else in the queue?
Because Bonnie was our first.
All
I
right,
need Tony to give me, Ms. Mertz to give me a 101.
all right. So, Ms. Littlejohn, if you could just hold tight, we're going to try to respond after we take all the public comment as best we can. Was there anybody else wishing to address the school committee? Can do so now.
Last call, people on Zoom or people in person?
Hearing none. All right, let's go to the superintendent. Let's find out if we can respond to some of the questions.
So I was trying to take as many notes as possible. So let me start by, I'm also going to invite Ms. Mertz to join me on the podium. So going back to what you said about the STEM positions, adding only one to Forestdale is because the other schools have one already. So that's why we added one to Forestdale.
I think one of the things we went over at Budget Sub was that the new positions are listed. The existing positions weren't taken, like, out. We listed the ones that were new to this current budget, not ones that had already existed in buildings, which was similar to the question of, like, the Wilson reading specialist. But sorry, Tony, you can jump in.
Nope, that's exactly right. So like the STEM positions, a lot of times they're listed under science. So what you're seeing in the budget and how I code them in ClearGov, and the way they're coded based on the chart of accounts that I report on my end of year report to DESE. So they follow a pattern and follow, like a STEM to me is a science teacher, so they get reported as a science teacher, right? So they might not technically do only science, but they get reported as a science. So they're underneath that line item where it says science. Your theater arts, there is no DESE code for me for theater arts, so they go under art, right? So they're listed under art teacher. So if you look at that line item, you might not be able to tell, but there's 3 people in that line item that make up that total for the art teacher at BB. But theater arts is considered art, right? So if there's no place for me to put them based on the chart of accounts, I go based on what the duties that they're doing, and that's how I code them for our financial system and for my end of year report.
Okay.
I can absolutely do a one-on-one, Bonnie, with you. School's almost over, pick a day.
The computer specialist, yeah. Then we're talking about the computer specialist. That is actually something that we will be, we have been working very closely with the MEA, and we will make the announcement on June 12th, how we actually repurpose those positions, and because most of them were vacant, so that gave us an opportunity to be able to work together with the MEA and create a lot of services for the students, but I will just leave it like that. So that's why you see them, that you don't see them there listed as computer teacher specialist.
But they are in the budget. I
They
just
are in
want
the
to make
budget.
that clear.
They are in the budget.
Right, they are in the budget.
Right.
The title is not there, but the position itself, whether it's vacant, if there's somebody in it, they are included in the budget.
Then we are going to go for the supplies at the schools. You see that, and I see that you see Salemwood has the same amount as every other school, but what we do, that's the basics, because we actually supplement more throughout the year. When they request things, we do it from central office, but we just wanted to make sure everybody has the same amount just for different expenditures within the schools, but we know that we get more requests from larger schools, and we covered that from central office.
Yes.
The building monitors, we added one to the high school and one to Salemwood. The reason why we did Salemwood and not all the rest of the schools is because of the size of the building, and it seems like it's 2 different buildings, so therefore we wanted to make sure that because they have more students than the rest of the K-5s, they got a building monitor, but the other ones did not. And this is a proposal, and you can see them on the district side, but at the high school, they're listed under their school. Actually, I'm sorry, both of them.
All of them are listed under
in the schools.
district-wide. So if you see the district-wide, there's a line item in the budget called building monitors, and there's I want to say right around 181,000.
Right,
But
yeah.
it's right around that number that's in there. Separate line item that says building monitors, that includes all of them.
And the job descriptions at this moment, once again, working very closely with the MEA, we are looking at the job descriptions to see how we're going to post them, as if the budget is approved. The Dean of Students, they are the two new positions that they're going to go to the high school. Once again, the support is needed in there because of the size of the building and also the needs of the students who are growing up. And they need to start getting ready more for college and career, so they need more guidance too and support on behaviors and expectations. And you will see them also in the budget. The job descriptions, once again, we're waiting to see from the MEA if we can move forward on posting or not. Then we have the, let me see here. The tuition, the $65,000.
Yep, so the technical tuition are students that go to, not the VOC, nope, because that's carried on the city side, so the city carries that line item, which is a little over 1.8 or $1.7 million, and it's carried under the city side. But that is for any other child, I think that at one point we had a child go to Cambridge Ridge and Latin for some kind of vocational education that probably is not offered at the VOC. I believe there are 2 students. This time around, I believe there's 2 students that go to Medford for some kind of vocational education. In the past, we've had a student go to Minuteman for some kind of vocational education, and we would pick up that. But the Essex Tech and the Northeast Voc all get reported on the city side of the budget.
The other one regarding superintendent's salary, it is actually in the, if you look at the proposed allocations for this district-wide, you will see superintendent, and you will see 3 assistant superintendents.
I believe they're showing up under central. So there
It's
should be
under-
one for central or district-wide,
Right.
but it should be in there.
The other one I wasn't so sure about, the literacy. You mentioned something about literacy, and I couldn't quite.
Admin, Director of Literacy, Admin, Director of Literacy and ELA, it went from 287, and it's 287 and it went up 114%. But I thought the Director of Literacy came from Title I, and what's the ELA?
So there's a Title I director, and then there's a director of ELA, and then there's a director of ELL, which shows up under literacy.
What is the page that you're looking at, if you don't mind asking? What is the page?
125.
Okay, anything else?
Oh, the director of science, STEM, because I know we have 2 now, K through 6, 6 through 12, but now it went up 100% to like 301,000.
So you gotta remember, okay, in the past, if you remember, when we originally got ESER 2, we had allocated a whole bunch of salaries, approximately 1.7 million of salaries in ESER 2, along with additional directors that we were authorized to hire. With ESER 2 going away this year, this June, we have, and with the lovely budget that we have received from the city with an $11 million increase, we have shifted everybody off of the grant onto the budget. So they're now part of our base budget, so that we're no longer wondering what's gonna happen next year if ESER 2 or ESER 3 expires, right? So we have moved all the full-time salaries from ESER 2 onto the budget. So you'll see an increase in the budget. And again, thanks to the city and to Mayor Christensen for this wonderful budget that we've had. I think this is the first time since I've been here with such a huge increase, right? So thanks to Chapter 70 and thanks to the city for this enormous budget that we're able to add positions and shift positions off of grants that are expiring that we can't rely on for operating expenses have now shifted onto the budget.
The director of science, like who,
So we have 2.
right, but it went up to 301,000 from this year.
So that takes into account negotiated salary increases from the new contract, and then,
Between the 2 of them, it's 301,000.
yes.
Yes.
So moving one person over from ESSER, because Tony, thank goodness, took all of our positions off of ESSER. And then with the new, gotcha.
Yes.
I think that's it, yep.
Did we cover all your questions?
Yeah,
Okay.
hey, for now.
If- Right.
Covered them for now. All right,
All right, we have a public comment from Zoom. Oh, the screen's not on. That's okay. And you are free to talk.
Hi, good evening. How are you, everyone?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just trying to catch up here. I have a question that I raised at the Forestdale School Site Council last night. That made me go and take a closer look at my question again, which is for occupational therapists at the Forestdale School. So our current one is retiring at the end of this year, and the budget allocated for an OT next year salary is $38,000. And so I was told yesterday to look into the district's general fund, but I was unable to find that information on the budget
okay.
package. So my question is, if I were to compare OT salaries for other schools that are $100,000 plus, how can we hire and retain an OT for $38K a year?
Ms. Mertz?
So the current position that you're looking at is a CODA. We've struggled, as you probably know, with getting OT and PT and some speech hired full-time. So we have outsourced a lot of that through Rockingham and through Easter Sales, but mainly through Rockingham, to get us the speech, OT, and PT. So that line item that was a full-time salary has been allocated over to the SPED contracted services, so to help us get those positions, especially where we're having a hard time filling them.
Can you explain to me what CODA means? I don't know.
It's a certified occupational therapist
Oh,
assistant.
CODA. Okay, COTA. Sorry, I thought it was something else. So are you saying we're going to be contracting with an agency and they will be part-time?
They're gonna be able to fill up our caseloads, right? And be able to service our caseloads, because we have not been able to fill those positions internally. So we have continued to hire contracted services or outside agencies to service all of our students.
But would we be able to afford a full-time OT versus getting somebody from an agency, or would that be
I think if
the budget wouldn't be balanced?
Well, the budget is balanced as it stands. I think if
Right.
we post the position and we're able to fill it, then we would be able to move that line item from one line item to another to be able to do that. But because we have struggled so hard to find those, we allocated that line item to contracted services because they've been able to get us the OTs and PTs to help us out.
Okay. I'm just wondering if we are able to post a OT position that would pay comparable to other schools in the district if we'd be able to get someone versus the talent agency, the agency.
So all of our positions are Unit A positions for OT and PT. So if we do post it, it would have to come under Unit A position. So it's not necessarily comparable to what others are making. It's based on their step and column, the Unit A contract.
Okay. I'm voicing a concern of whether we'll be able to fill that position at that salary level. That's all.
But Ms. Mertz, just to further clarify, so if we found a stellar candidate 6 months from now, what is our obligation to Rockingham? Are we contracted for a year? How does that work?
No, it's not contracted for a year. It's contracted based on our caseloads. So if we don't need an individual, then they don't come, right? So
Okay.
it's all based on caseloads and everything that they have to service.
So you can get out
We
if
can
you
get out
found the right
anytime.
person?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it for me. Thank you, Ms. Mertz.
Thank you. I don't see anybody else.
Last call for in-person or for anyone on Zoom. You can use the raise hand feature or on the telephone dial *9. Oh, we have one in person.
I was being forced to do this. Dawn O'Toole, 130 Adams Street, Malden.
And the question that I'm asking is again about the 504 coordinator because it didn't get answered from Ms. Littlejohn.
Thank you. 504 coordinators.
Yep, the 504 coordinators, right now we have them as part-time positions, and we still have a few part-time positions that are paid out of ESER 3. So that's where the 504 coordinator is paid out of a grant right now. Yes.
Okay. Is there anybody else?
Looks
Is
like
there
we have
anybody
none.
else other than Dawn and Bonnie? Anybody else? So what's the next step?
Where you're gonna close, we can
All right, so we're going to close.
but-
Yes. Okay, let me go to Ms. Spatafora for an update for the committee. I don't know, is it on?
Oh, that's working. Okay, thank you. Because Ms. Littlejohn made note, and I was supposed to say this at the beginning of the meeting, but I was very anxious to recess. So our June 5th scheduled school committee meeting is being postponed till June 12th because the weather forecast for this weekend is looking dire for our high school graduation. And there's a potential for us to move high school graduation to Monday night, which would then conflict with the school committee meeting. So we were proactive and just said, let's just move it out a week to June 12th, 6 p.m., same place. Be here. I know you will be.
All right. Mr. Waldeck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I think with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn our public hearing.
Seconded by Ms. Spatafora. Clerk will call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So that carries unanimously. All right, we're hereby adjourned.
Recording stopped.
Thanks, Keith.
Thanks for having me, and I hope I passed the audition.
I hope you're on the mend.
The line was very faint this morning, but it was still there. So I'm taking that as a positive sign that, but yeah, hopefully I will be able to attend if the weather doesn't hold up, maybe Monday.
We shall see.